video series provided by the Master of Arts in Rhetoric and Writing at the University of Findlay. These concepts are described in the text Naming What You Know by Elizabeth Wardle and Linda Adler-Kastner. I'm Lindsay Dimry.
And I am Drew Lytle.
And we will be presenting a short review and discussion of Concept 1.4, Words Get Their Meanings from Other Words.
The overall abstract of this topic is words have no inherent meaning, and there is no necessary connection between sounds, symbols, and the objects they are referring to. Instead, words obtain their meanings from other words and from social context.
The author of our concept is Dylan B. Dreyer. He is an associate professor of composition studies at the University of Maine. He obtained his PhD from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee in 2007 in composition and rhetoric. He has taught a wide range of topics such as business and technical writing and teaching college composition. He has published more than 15 pieces. He has 3 sections in our book: Words Get Their Meanings from Other Words, Writing is Not Natural, and Writing is Also Always a Cognitive Activity.
The most important facet of this concept is making sure that people understand that words have no set meanings, and that they are constantly in fluctuation due to changes in our society and even changes in language. And that in order to define a word, we must first use other words to give us context on what that word may mean, as most words have multiple meanings, as any definition relies on words to explain what other words mean. When you understand this concept, you'll be able to understand the failures and successes of communication and how they occur. By understanding these successes and failures of communication, you'll be able to communicate effectively with those inside and outside of your social circles, and be able to reduce confusion and misconceptions when they arise. Being aware of this concept also allows writers to understand that every time they write or speak a set of words, they are cementing that specific social context for the word, and thus becoming a part of history and also defining the definition of the word.
The concept of words having no inherent meaning is important to rhetoric because our language is ever-changing and constantly evolving. For example, in Shakespeare's play Henry IV, Part 2, he talks about the beetle, but from an outside perspective, you may not know which beetle he's referring to. There's the spelling B-E-A-D-L-E, which refers to a punisher or a chastiser, which is the term that he is trying to use in his play, or there's also B-E-D-E-L, which is the official of a church. And since plays were given orally during the Shakespearean times, the audience may not know how that would be interpreted from then to now.
And on top of this, we can even look at rhetoric as a discipline to see the ever-changing effects. Back in the ancient times of Greece and Rome, we can see that rhetoric is a respectable discipline, one that is highly regarded, but as we move closer and closer to our time, we can see that it's more related to fluff and lying and disrespectful, almost a political tool. And finally, as we get closer to our time, it's actually changing back into a respectable discipline.
Another example would be a cup. So you have a drinking cup or like a trophy. So for example, someone says, I got the cup. They could physically get a cup that they drink with or a cup that they won in like a championship for soccer.
On top of this, another example is a fork. It's an eating utensil in most connotations, but it could also mean a fork in the road or even a chess term. And overall, that is this topic. It's all about understanding how words get their meaning from other words and how you can't rely on a set definition to be understood until you give social context.
Context is always a key factor in understanding what the author's intent is.